Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of the Ryan Holtz Show podcast, the show that is the intersection of culture, news, personal development, the show that brings you the most personally, professionally, you know the drill. This episode is sponsored by Holtz Real Estate, Ryan Holtz Marketing and Media, and is a proud giver to you. And again, without you, this show would not be possible. I want to get right into it today, though. Charlie Kirk. Unless you've been sleeping under a rock or you don't have the internet or whatever's going on, Charlie Kirk was assassinated yesterday. Now, here's what we know. Charlie Kirk is the founder of Turning Point USA, was shot while speaking at a public event at Utah Valley University. Event was part of his American comeback tour, and he was shot in the neck and subsequently passed away at the scene. Circumstances of the shooting: it was a sniper-style attack. The shooter fired a single shot from a rooftop or building at a distance. Reports are, 200 feet, 200 yards, 180 meters away. So definitely, I think this is hands down was a political, not a political, but a professional kind of job, so to speak. The shooter is still at large. There was two people that were brought into custody, but after questioning were released. And now they are still on the hunt. But here is the point. I'll be honest, I didn't know a lot about Charlie Kirk before this happened. Actually, my wife was very familiar with him because, he's all over TikTok and things like that. And she basically said, wow, like this is a really, really big deal. And then all of a sudden it just started flooding. And I said, whoa, this is something we got to cover here at the Ryan Holtz Show podcast. So here we are. Once I kind of started doing a digital deep dive, I always like to go to social media. I like to go in the comments, and I like to go both on left wing, right wing, and see what people are really saying about this person. A lot of comments and a lot of people feel that, hey, look, no matter what you're saying, there is the element of free speech. Now, that being said, some of the stuff that he was actually saying was just not good. I want to read one thing. It says, one of his quotes, and this was dated April 5th, 2023. I think it's worth it. I think it's worth to have a cost of, unfortunately, some gun deaths every single year so that we can have the Second Amendment to protect our other God-given rights. Then he's also quoted talking about how empathy is a new age kind of falsehood. So he's like, I don't believe in empathy and da-da-da-da-da. And I think this is interesting because when you actually break this down, you're like, wait a sec, why don't you believe in empathy? Like, it's very ironic. And again, the video of him actually being shot is online. And it's a horrible video, but his last words he said in it were violence. So here we are on that. Now, that being said, where do we think, that takes us as a society if, the person cannot speak without potentially being, unalive, so to speak. So here's my thoughts on it. He said a lot of stuff about the black community. There was a African-American gentleman who was at one of his rallies and stood up, and he basically said, he tried to insinuate that black people have not really had it hard to date. And the system, if we go all the way back into history, come on. This comment in itself was where I kind of started thinking, is this Charlie Kirk a bad guy or a good guy? Now, again, don't come for me because I want to put the disclaimer on this is that he had he's got kids and he's got a wife, and my heart goes out to them. And again, I don't condone any violence, and I think that people should be able to say what they want to say. That being said, when that does happen, here we are. And I think it's extremely important for people to remember that and, remember that, hey, look, he is a human and he does have kids. Even some of his biggest kind of, I don't want to say enemies, but biggest, naysayers, are literally crying because of this has happened, because it's more than him. It's about freedom of speech and that, here we are again. So my thoughts on it is Charlie Kirk, was he a good guy? I mean, he's saying all kinds of things about the LGBTQ community. He's saying things about the African-American community. He's, saying things that are extremely not sympathetic or empathetic. He's literally quoted saying that he thinks, again, empathy is a new age kind of falsehood. He's, telling certain groups that, look, I think it's totally fine that there's these shootings happening. He's saying all kinds of just terrible, terrible statements. And so to me, that's not somebody that I would follow. I don't find his content nutritional. I do feel like, a lot of what he says does incite bad thoughts from his bad words that, again, some people that aren't thinking fully straight can take and, go and do bad actions with. That being said, I don't know enough about him to give my full opinion other than the fact that, he had a massive impact on the world, clearly. And, again, he didn't sit on the fence. I respect that, because either people love him or they can't stand him. Like, there's no in between when it comes to this person, especially doing my digital deep dive. So if you go into Instagram and you think about and you read these comments and then you really think about your own perspective, if you were talking, what would some of the things that you would say, and how would you be, and all of these things that I think make what it is. And my first thought was, this person speaking too much and just too negative. But then on the other hand, he is coming from a place that really says, hey, this is my opinion, and this is my opinion. And one of the things that, if you've been following the show, that I've mentioned numerous times is that I think that difference of opinion is necessary to growth and humanity, because it's not about just hanging around people that agree with you. In fact, I try to hang around with people that don't agree with me, because I feel like I'm surrounded by yes people. That's all I'm going to get. And there's no growth there. So I like people that have a difference of opinion. Now, I can literally fully not agree with somebody, and it doesn't make me dislike them. It doesn't make me feel any animosity to them. I just think hey, that's their perspective, as long as they're, kind of saying it respectfully. But a lot of people are like, no, you don't disagree. You disagree with me? No, we're not friends. We're cool. They cut the connection. I don't get that. Humanity has to change that way. Difference of opinion is good. Respectful debate is important. It is necessary to the foundations of us as human beings. So I'm going to leave it here. I want this to be a shorty, but I think this is going to be a major event, and we will cover this more, but I wanted to share this with you, the audience, the listener. Again, head over to our YouTube channel and subscribe if you have already not. Get this anywhere you grab your podcast. But I want to know in the comments what you think. Is Charlie Kirk a bad guy? Is he a good guy? And let's weigh it out from there. Again, is he a good guy? Is he a bad guy? Is he opinionated? Does he say things that are unjust? Is he the villain that a lot of people are making him out to be? Or is he the hero that a lot of people are making him out to be? I want to know in the comments. Let me know, and let's roll from there. Again, curiosity should always be your mandate. Thank you so much for tuning in. Much love.
We're so glad you enjoyed this episode of the Ryan Holtz Show podcast. Please don't forget to smash that 5-star review, as Team Holtz will love you for it. Also, say hi to Ryan anywhere on social media using the handle @RyanHoltz1. That's RyanHoltz1. And if you or your business is looking to expand your brand, book a brand jam with Ryan using the link in the show notes.